Are you kidding me? Wow. Was I wrong? As was a lot of other people about this Sixers team, about this Sixers game last night. Wow. That's all I can say is wow. Sixers beat the Celtics 115, 103, Eastern Conference semifinals, game 5 to take a commanding 3-2 lead. We're here to talk about it. Trending in the AM, the place where your comments matter the most, starts in 30 seconds. And a very good morning, everybody, and welcome to Trending in the AM, right here on Philadelphia Sports Network. We're live, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. You know the drill. Like, share, retweet, follow, subscribe, smash those like and share buttons. Tell a friend, tell one, tell all. This is the most interactive morning show there is in the Philadelphia sports area, the only place where your comments and thoughts matter. I am your host, Phil Stiefel. We're here to talk about that Sixers game last night. Make sure you shoot me a follow on Twitter at Beard of Knowledge. And yes, what say you about that Sixers big game 5 win? The 76ers are the best. This is my comment. I was wrong. And of course, ring that freaking bell. I mean, that holds dual purpose with the Phillies having a big win last night and Nick Castellanos. Every day that MVP ticket looks just a little bit better on Nick Castellanos that I placed. But we're here not talking about the Phillies today much. If you want to, we will. If you want to talk Eagles, we will. But the main point of today's show is just to talk about how damn wrong I was about this Philadelphia 76ers team and how damn wrong I was that they stood literally zero chance in this series. Well, let me tell you something. Having that 3-2 advantage, it's pretty obvious. They showed the stats last night, on the game, on the call, that it's like 82, 84% of the time when you take a 3-2 lead by winning game 5, you win that series. Well, let me tell you something. I don't know what got into the Sixers. Maybe they were watching Trending in the AM. It is the best and first morning show on YouTube in Philly. It is the place where your thoughts matter. Maybe they were watching my show after games 2 and 3, because what they looked like last night was a completely different basketball team. Top to bottom, everybody came to play. And the Celtics, the shoe was on the other foot. The boos in the third and fourth quarter of the Celtics fans. The Celtics fans leaving with 3 minutes left. The Boston coach, Joe Mazzulla, emptying out the bench with like 3.5 minutes left. The shoe was on the other foot last night. And I don't know what got into this team. I still firmly believe, on paper, the Celtics are the better, deeper team. But we know, as Philly sports fans, the better team on paper doesn't always win. The team that wants it more, the team that's fighting harder, the team that has that extra motor in them, that's the team that typically wins. And we saw that last night with this Sixers team. Again, 115-103. And honestly, for most of the game, we were pushing that 15 to 18 point lead for a long stretch in the second half. Honestly, it was they emptied out their bench, the Celtics, and all of a sudden those back end guys started knocking down a couple of shots. I was like, shit, let off the foot a little too soon. But no, that is what you want from your Sixers team. A dominant, send a message, statement win against the Boston Celtics. And we're going to get into the specifics of the game, but let me just start off by saying, there was one person specifically, but there's lots of people calling me out because I was so against. I said the Sixers team. Let me pull up this tweet from a couple days ago. I put a tweet out there, and basically, let me find it here. I put out a tweet. This was, sorry to say it, Sixers fan, this team is not good enough to beat the Celtics. I said it, you knew it, but wouldn't admit it. The Sixers knew it, the Celtics knew it. Don't worry, the end is near. That came out of frustration. Out of the end of game 3, We're getting just run out of the building 2 days in a row. We've lost all control of the series at that point. We win game one and have a chance to put our foot on their throat, get blown out in game two and game three. And I was frustrated. Yes, I'm not as high as others on the Sixers team. I'm very realistic about my expectations. But, man, somebody just could not wait to share. It was literally 3 seconds after tip, and I'm getting notifications on this because people want to call me out for a bad take. This is absolutely sure. And, Marshawn, we're going to get into this as well. Cannot drink the Kool-Aid yet. Job is not finished. You still got to win the series. Yeah, you got 2 games to win one, but you don't want that game going back to Boston. That series going back to Boston. So we're going to get into that in a minute. I think that's a very fair and very important point. Let's not get too ahead of ourselves. I might be able to reshare the comments that this person's sharing if we don't take care of business. But as a sports fan, people think, as a sports fan, we have passionate takes that are in the heat of the moment. And yeah, I said after the game 2, that 90-second stretch before halftime ended the series. And it's not that they're hot takes or anything like that. I'm not a clickbait guy. I don't ever say anything so insane that makes you have to tune in. I'm not that silly guy or missy guy that says crazy shit to get clicks. I don't do that. I just have passionate takes that sometimes are wrong. And if you follow me for a long time, you know I am the only person out there that has no problem admitting when I was wrong. I was wrong saying in the middle of game 2 this series was over. I was wrong saying at the end of game 3 that this season was over. And I admit it. I am the only person that will admit it. Other people will duck and cover, run and hide, try to put a spin on it. No, not me. I'll admit it. The Sixers have proven me wrong in the last game or two, and they are right back in it. Everyone has bad takes too good of a day to go back and forth. Dude, I'll go back with them. I don't care. They don't make me lose anything. That tweet happened, and everybody I had to go to sleep. What? Didn't lose no sleep. My brand is strong for clickbait. Hey, when you got articles, you got to have clickbait headlines to get you to read the articles. I get that. But you don't get that from me. Just because my name is on this channel, you will never get the clickbait. You look at the titles of these shows every day. There ain't no clickbaits on them. This is about having strong discussions. But I was wrong about the Sixers team. As were a lot. Look, me admitting that I was wrong, I'm doing that for a lot of people. There's a lot of people that were wrong on this Sixers team. A lot of people that were wrong. So me admitting that I was wrong, I'm doing it for all of you. All the others out there that won't admit it. Embiid, yeah. Thanks for the spelling error there. Joel Embiid was excellent last night. He was proving that he is the MVP. 33.7 rebounds, 3 assists, 4 blocked shots. Got to the line 11 times. Joel Embiid, he didn't shoot at a high percentage, 10 of 23. But he just looked different last night. Looked like he was finally figuring out how to play with the knee injury. A lot less hesitation. A lot less struggle with movements, in the post. Didn't struggle to get the ball and get to the point of the post, where he wants to be with the ball. He like Forrest, magic legs. Yeah, I don't know if somebody else said that he got rid of the brace. Did he get rid of the brace? Because there's still something under that knee. He's got that leg wrap on his leg. There's something sticking out. Maybe it's not a full brace, but there is some form of protection on that knee still, I think. I did say yesterday we need a 15 apiece from Maxey, Tobias, Melton. All 3 combined for 50 points. What was Melton's final number? Only 4 points. Yeah, Maxey went off last night. And Tobias actually had a better game than his box score said. Tobias's problem yesterday was that he got in foul trouble again. I forget, was it game 2 or game 3? He got into a lot of foul trouble, had a missed time early. Tobias got in foul trouble last night again, and that definitely affected him. But he was still a pretty effective player. And Maxey, man, I stick to it. Max Money Maxey, man. That there's no doubt, and he came to play last night. And look, Sean Bernard was on the show yesterday. Excellent writer, excellent Sixers insider. Covers the Sixers for a lot of different sites. Yeah, he got comfortable shoes, man. Joel Embiid, I got you. We'll get into Golden State. I'm not a Golden State guy either. Sean Bernard was on yesterday, and I'm sure you listened and saw it, Marshawn. He basically said that it's time for Tyrese Maxey to step up. We often use the excuse, well, he's only 22 and he's young. But at this point, Maxey is already a viable star in this league. And viable stars, whether you're 22, 28, or 35 or 40, when you're a star in this league, you are expected to step up. And Maxey has struggled against the Celtics in his career all year this series. Well, Maxey stepped up last night. He played like that viable star he already is. Maxey's going to be one of the youngest guys to ever get a max contract. He is going to be the next big max contract here in Philly. And last night was a huge stepping stone for him because he showed even when there's a team that he struggles against. And look, at 6'2", young little guy, like a small little guy like him, he is going to struggle against athletic, long, big teams. His whole career, this is going to be an issue his whole career. But as long as he can keep that burst and that confidence, then he's always going to be a star in this league because he just plays with a different level. And him coming up with such a big game last night. Let me pull up his line here. 30 points, led the second on the team in scoring. 7 rebounds. Tyrese Maxey had 7 rebounds last night. Just think about that. 3 assists. 4 for 4 from the line. 6 of 12 from deep. 10 of 21 shooting. He was a plus 15. That's what you needed. You can get away with James Harden only scoring 17 points. And you know what? Some people will criticize James Harden because he only had 17 points. But James Harden had a great game last night as well. He just didn't do it in the box score. He did it other ways, getting players involved. Tyrese Maxey did exactly what Sean Bernard said he needed to do, and he stepped up big last night. Not out of the woods just yet. Celtics were down 3-2 last year in the second round and 1-7. Not the same team and team philosophy, but got to take care of business on Thursday. Look, we're, as the Sixers fans, used to dumb quotes. We're used to, all the negativity surrounding our team. Let me tell you something. Joe Mazzulla, good young rookie coach, has done really well this year. He's being outcoached by Doc Rivers, and we'll get into that in a second. But he had the dumbest quote of the NBA playoffs last night when he said after the game that we intended to win. It just didn't happen. No shit, you intended to win. And that borderlines on the Doc Rivers negativity, losing culture type, comments, philosophy. If I'm in that Boston locker room and I hear my coach say something like that, I'm not in a good mood. I'm feeling frustrated, and that comment from him, we intended to win. Well, yeah, Al Horford intended to make a shot, and he didn't make a shot. Jason Tatum intended not to come up small again in a big moment. Well, he did. Jaylen Brown intended to make free throws. What did Jaylen Brown miss? 4, 5, 6 free throws last night? He missed. He went 3 from 8 for the free throw line. He didn't intend to do that. That is something that normally comes out on the Sixers side. And it was great to see the shoe on the other foot for a change. Because that's not what you want or expect out of that really supposedly strong Boston Celtics culture, strong Boston Celtics locker room. Joe Mazzulla made a misstep. And yes, we're not out of the woods. But this is what I'm getting back to this thing. It's not the same team and philosophy with this Boston Celtics team. Atlanta, we said at the beginning of the series, after they beat Atlanta, Boston, this Boston team is different. They are beatable. They are not as unstoppable. They're still a great team. And I still, again, as I open the show, say, I believe they are the better team on paper. But it doesn't mean you win. On paper means jack crap in sports. I think they are beatable. Now, it's up to the Sixers to do that. And you're getting into it, you guys in the comments, that it is not over. It's not. The Sixers still got to take care of business. They have to win Game 6. Game 6 is going to be so important. It's so important. They have to win Game 6. You do not want to go back to Boston. I don't know, statistician, if you're in the comments section, I wonder what the numbers are, what the stats say. Game 7. home team probably wins a heavy amount of the time. Also, the stats probably say the home team does not lose 3 times at home in a best-of-7 series very often. So if it goes to Game 7, that means we would have to win 3 of our 4 games in Boston. That we can't do that. I don't want to do that. I don't think the Sixers should let that happen. So that means the Sixers can't get too high on themselves. Last night was such a huge win, such an emotional roller coaster. That team's got to be, the Sixers got to be pumping their chest or wanting to pump their chest. But no, Doc Rivers, James Harden, Joel Embiid, they got to get into that locker room yesterday after the game. Today, when they're at shoot-around, they need to be in that locker room. Yo, no celebrating yet. The job is not done. What is up, my man, Drew? I hope you are as excited and pumped as I am about this Sixers game and their win last night. And again, if you're just joining the show, I am here to talk about how I was wrong about this Sixers team. 110% dead wrong on this Sixers team. I thought this series was going to be over in 5 or 6 games after the way they played in Game 2 and in Game 3. And I was wrong. They tapped into something extra, the Sixers team. Extra gears. I didn't expect to see a second 40 burger from James Harden in Game 4. I did not expect Joel Embiid to all of a sudden figure out how to play with this injury. Home team wins Game 7 75.3% of the time. Thank you, Kyle. That tells me right there we need to win Game 6 now to avoid that possibility. Game 7, 1 in the books now. We got to win Game 7 too. Well, no, we got to win Game 6, Eric, so that we don't have to get to 7. Yeah, Joel Embiid looked rested. I mean, I don't know where he got the rest, but he looked different for sure, John. Like, he literally looked, it's like he's been struggling to play with this knee injury because he knows he's got to. He's the MVP. He doesn't want to let his teammates down. But then all of a sudden last night, it seemed like it wasn't as big of an issue to him. Now, I mean, it's a 4 to 6 week injury. And now we're into that 4-week stretch of it. So maybe it's not hurting as much, or maybe he's just learning how to manage the pain in that situation. Like, it just seemed different. When he would get to the points in the block that he wanted to. He would get the ball where he wanted to. He would, well, and this comment you're putting in here, John, is key also. It makes it easier when Tyrese Maxey steps up at the same time. I am not popping champagne yet. There is no chance in the world. I am not jumping to any conclusions whatsoever. Closeout games are hard. We'll need maximum effort and sense of urgency. Well, the emotional landscape of the series has got to be in the Sixers' favor. We win the last 2 games. We win last night convincingly. And then Joe Mazzulla goes out and makes a dumbass comment. The Sixers are pumping their chest, have all the confidence in the world. And the Celtics are looking around the locker room questioning each other. Questioning their coach probably to an extent. No, I am saying we have to follow up with the same mentality. Oh, okay, gotcha. Play Game 6 as if it's a Game 7. I agree, Eric, with that 100%, if I'm getting you right now. Like we definitely need to treat this game on Thursday as if it's the last. We don't want to get to Game 7 for multiple reasons. Because, A, as we saw, Game 7 home team wins more often than they lose. But also because that Heat Knicks series looks like it's just about over. So Miami's going to get time to rest up, and we're not. So we need that extra time to rest up, man. It's definitely the Sixers know what they got to do to close this series out. I kind of hope Jalen Hurts Jalen Hurts would be a great bell ringer. I don't know who they have, if they've announced anybody yet. Jalen Hurts would be an excellent bell ringer. Jalen Hurts, if I'm Doc Rivers, I don't know if they need any extra motivation. But if you even remotely think they need a little extra motivation, I'm Doc Rivers, I'm calling Jalen Hurts. I'm like, yo, Jalen, can you come talk to the boys before the game? Or have Jalen Hurts at shoot-around today? They don't practice much. Have them at shoot-around today, giving those guys, a little extra push and motivation. Also, if he's at shoot-around today, it might loosen the mood. It's Jalen Hurts. Another someday MVP join your. I think that would be exciting, and it might help motivate the crew a little bit more. Jalen Hurts ringing the bell would be great for the fans, but if the fans need a little extra motivation, there's something wrong with them. They don't need the motivation to get loud. And let me tell you something. I didn't really talk about it, but in Game 4, kind of seemed like the Wells Fargo center crowd was just a little less loud than normal. They got hyped at the end as we won the game, but it just seemed like they were missing that extra edge. We can't have that miss. I can't be sitting watching this game on my TV screen and questioning whether that the crowd is into it or not. We need the crowd. Tyrese Maxey, a Kyrie Irving type player with skills and speed. Maxey's amazing young. Absolutely agree with everything you said there. I mean, is he a little smaller than Kyrie? Probably. And the only thing that's ever going to hamper Tyrese Maxey from being an all-star to being a super all-star is his size, in my opinion. MVP Embiid was amazing. I just don't get it, man. He was so amazing last night. I am lucky and proud and so happy I get to watch Joel Embiid play on a daily basis. It makes me so happy. Eagles, Chiefs, regular. We'll get to football. Thursday, the schedule release. So Friday, we're talking schedule. NFL schedule. We'll probably make Friday a 90-minute show because we'll have to recap Thursday's Sixers game, but we'll have to get into the NFL schedule as well. So, yeah, we'll get into a little bit of that for sure. James Harden was a great floor general. Exactly. A lot of people are just going to look at the box score surfers, and be like, James Harden had a bad game last night. He only got up 8 shots. What's up with that? James Harden had a great game last night. It won't, and even some things won't show up in the box score. So for sure, this isn't unfamiliar territory for the Celtics. The difference is I feel we are better than Milwaukee. We needed Maxey to arrive, and he answered the bell. Absolutely. You cannot take Boston lightly. That's why I was saying earlier, if you weren't in the beginning of the show, that we cannot be boasting our chest. Joel, James, Doc has to control this team and be in that locker room. Yo, the job is not finished. We need that effort again on Thursday night for sure. You play to win the game. Absolutely, their intentions will be to win the game. The Sixers really need to win Game 6. We were all left with a bad taste in our mouths from last year when Simmons didn't dunk. Oh, my God. I don't even want to talk about Ben Simmons. Let's not bring his name into the conversation today. Let's not. I refuse to believe PJ will let this team. PJ, man, I'm telling you. Everybody all year was telling me, just wait for playoff PJ. Let me tell you something. We're getting playoff PJ. Playoff PJ is real deal. Yo, we got a lot of people watching the show. There's only 10 likes on this video on YouTube. Everybody watching, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe button on YouTube. Please don't forget to do that. That'll just help keep growing this show. Absolutely will. Maxey and Kyrie are birthdays. Kyrie's only 6. I don't know. Maybe he feels like he plays a little different. I don't know. It just feels a little different. Feels a little different to me. But Maxey's size will always be of concern. Now, if he can continue to shoot at the way he does and continue to gain confidence, I don't know if he could ever be Kyrie Irving killer-like, but I get the comparison is all I'm trying to say. This is foreign territory for our Sixers. Never been up 3-2 in the second round. They were saying it last night on the telecast, and I wouldn't have even have known it, that the Sixers haven't won a Game 5 on the road since 2000. That was before the Iverson title run in 2001. I can't believe it. Did not realize that. But, man, it's different territory, but there just seems, maybe it's playoff PJ. Maybe it's Joel Embiid, as I've talked all year, just looks different. That he's just a little different than he was in previous years. A little bit more mature, a little bit more motivated. I don't know what it is, but something's different. PJ, whether it's him, whether it's... I've talked about it all year, guys, that this year is so important for the legacies of Joel Embiid, Doc Rivers, and James Harden. And maybe those legacies are on the line and just got them thinking differently. I think it's really important to think of legacies, and that's why that we're in this position right now. That was 2 years ago. Ben Simmons wasn't a Sixer. Exactly. I wasn't going to – it was a minor little misstep on that there, so I wasn't going to let that, become a big deal. I'm moving on to the next series. No, Johnny. You're a non-Sixers fan, and you're trying to jinx us. I don't want to hear it. Snapped an 11-game, Game 5 losing streak per Ernie. I know a lot of people give crap to national announcers, but Ernie Johnson, I love him. I think he does an excellent job controlling Shaq and Barkley and Kenny the Jet. I actually do not mind the TNT studio show at all. I know it's a very unpopular opinion, but I actually thoroughly enjoy their group there and how it works. Sixers need to clean up their game though. There is, dude, John. We can get into that if you want. Like the fact that the first possession of the game, Joel Embiid had to take a fadeaway 35.3-point shot that just bounced in luckily. How many times the first possession of the second half, James Harden did not get the ball past the Celtics logo till 8 seconds left in the shot clock. There's still work to do. They have not played a perfect game yet, the Sixers. And that's the thing. Like, we're in command of the series, but we can actually be better. And that's what's scary, which means if we can get game 6 and get past the Celtics, that this could be the fourth Philadelphia team to play for a championship in a calendar year. It's insane. Maxey also the same size as Steph Curry, but Maxey hustles more on defense than Curry. I think Curry's probably an underrated defender to an extent. And I'm not going to compare the two just yet. Different ends of the spectrum of their career. But I get it. I mean, maybe I make too much of Maxey's size. Maybe I do. Would you trade Maxey for Dame Lillard if we don't go all the way? Philly the Kid, whatever, Breeze _ whatever. I don't want to talk about that until after the season's over. But I will say I'm probably not trading Tyrese Maxey for anything. I'm going to try to make, if we get to that point and have to talk about this at the end of the season, I don't want to have to I'm going to try everything in my power to improve this team without moving Tyrese Maxey. 76ers versus Lakers will be so rigged for LeBron. Well, man, I did say LeBron and the Lakers they were one of my 2 picks to make the finals before the playoffs even started. So, it could happen. It would be great to get the revenge on the Lakers for sure. Maxey has healthy ankles, yeah. Well, I say it all the time. Different player. Totally different player. But Tyrese Maxey's speed, athleticism, ability to get to the rim reminds me so much of young Derrick Rose. Totally different ball player. But the ability to get to the rim and spark a team with his speed. When you get a huge layup from, you blow past 3 defenders, you get a high arcing, kick off the glass, and you make that layup, that energizes your team. You fall to the floor. I just hope he has a healthier career than Derrick Rose. Derrick Rose, to me, could have been one of the greatest basketball players of all time if he didn't blow out his knee 65 times. I don't count the Union, but I hear you. Look, the Union have made 2 straight championship games. Come on, you got to give. We do once every 6 months talk a little Union on here. I have my man El Parcero on the show to talk Union occasionally. Dude, we can't count them out. I thought Shaq would never work with Ernie, Kenny, and Chuck, but he's been involved with some of the funniest. Dude, I think they have great chemistry. They're entertaining. They do great breakdown of film. They might have a little biases, but what players don't, and what former players don't. I think they do great. And I think Ernie Johnson is one of the most underrated hosts in all of sports. Shows, TV, sitting at the desk, media desks, podcast, whatever. Ernie Johnson is one of the best. And he's one of the best humans. And he's got that really great story. And unfortunately with his son and stuff. And let me tell you something. I respect the living hell out of Ernie Johnson. I would love 5 minutes of Ernie Johnson's time to be on this show. It would be a dream to me just to talk to him about life in general, not even just sports, but just life. Doc made a house call last night. Yo, is it time? Is it time for me to talk about Danuel House Jr.? We are going to. I am not moving Maxey at all. Embiid hasn't lost in L.A. Doc Rivers deserves huge credit for the game. Dude, I think it is time to talk about the house. Danuel House with the huge game. He doesn't have the ups like D Rose. Yeah, they're different, but he has the speed. Like D Rose. I'm comparing the speed and ability to get to the rim. That's all I'm doing when I compare those two. Let me tell you something. Danuel House Jr. last night. I want the Nuggets. I do kind of want that Embiid versus Jokic matchup. I do. I just think Joel would be even to another level. Kentucky guards like Fox, SGA, Maxey, high level coach Cal. We might hate Cal Perry. He might be an asshole, but he produces some damn good guards. Dude, where in the world did Danuel House Jr. come from last night? And let me tell you something. I've been talking about it for a couple of months now on this show, on this channel, and when I was on a previous network, that I respect the hell out of Danuel House Jr. That guy came here with the goal and with being told that he was going to be a viable part of this bench, and I said he stinks before the season started. I'm like, he's not a championship caliber regular rotation guy. And he lost his spot in the rotation. He was a DMP coach's decision I don't know how many times in the middle of the season. He was only, over a 6-8 week span, the only time he saw the court was when the Sixers were up 25-30 at the end of the game. I think he played like 4 out of like 30 games in the middle of the season. But you know what he did? He stayed ready. And at the end of the season, he was called upon a few times. And you know what he did? He produced. There's a difference between Danuel House and Furkan Korkmaz. I know my wife, if she's listening, she hates it when I crush on Furkan because she thinks he's good looking and stuff, and he wears cool looking shoes. Dude, Furkan mopes around the back end of the bench. He doesn't look like he's ready and engaged if his number was called. Danuel is always, he doesn't have to get ready. He is always ready. And when he's called upon, he goes out. He don't look pretty when he's doing it. Let me tell you something. There is no, he does not look good doing it. Like he looks like he's got to do extra on everything. House was great last night, Trey. There is literally no doubt about it. And it's the energy. Even if he didn't score 10 points last night, the energy he brought, the hustle, the determination to make every play. It's not even when he comes off the bench. Even when he's on the bench, you see him doing that extra little something. He always is ready. What was that wrestler? Who was the wrestler? I don't get hyped. I stay hyped. That's what Danuel House is. He doesn't get ready. He stays ready. If you're a wrestling fan, who used to be the hype guy? He was a terrible wrestler, but got a lot of hype. He was friends with Gronkowski or something like that. Danuel House, man. I mean, I said it so many times. I just respect the hell. And I said this at the end of the season, that he wasn't going to be part of the regular playoff rotation. Oh, Mitch, you're going. You want to buy me a ticket too? That ain't in my budget. I'm trying to buy a house right now. But, you know, Mitch, if you want to take a friend, you know, if you got to spare a couple hundred, I'll buy the first beer. I just don't, you know, Danuel House, you know, he was ready, and he just proved something special at the end of the season when his minutes started increasing again. And he's not going to have the prettiest shot. He's going to go to the rim, and his legs are flailing all over the place. But that energy was so important. I tell you, this might sound insane. If Doc Rivers does not make that decision to go to Danuel House Jr. last night, and he plays, let me pull up the box score again to see the minutes. Just give me a second here. He played 15 minutes. 2 or 3 of them were in garbage time at the end. So he played about 12, 13 minutes of important game action. That means Niang plays 5 more minutes. Maybe Melton plays a few. Maybe Jalen McDaniels plays a few minutes. We've seen him struggle this series when he's been out there. I don't think we win if Doc Rivers doesn't pull the right card out and say, yo, House, you're in. I don't know how Doc Rivers tells people they're in. Dan, you're in. Whatever. Junior, you're in. And he's probably like, what? Oh, let's go. You know, I just love it. Tobias Harris was solid last night, getting rebounds, hitting the mid-range jumper. And I think you would have seen actually, you might not have seen as much Danuel House early in the game if it wasn't for the foul trouble that Tobias got in. You would have seen maybe north of 20 points from Tobias. You would have seen a little bit more. Hey, I bash Doc Rivers nonstop. Doc Rivers, before this series, people were saying Joe Mazzulla is going to outcoach Doc Rivers. Doc Rivers has outcoached a Boston Celtics coach without a shadow of a doubt. Last night was another example. Mojo Rawley, that was correct. That's the guy. I don't even know what happened to that guy. That guy was a terrible wrestler. Had nothing. But he got hyped. He never had to get hyped because he stayed hyped. And that is what we just had a Mojo Rawley comment on this show. That is why everybody needs to hit that like. We're up to 14 likes now. All right. I've had a couple shows get to the 20, 25 likes before the show ended. They always get to 20, 25, 30 likes after replays and stuff. Yo, let's get this show to 20 to 25 likes tonight on YouTube because we just talked about Mojo Rawley on this show. That's insane. But Doc Rivers, you got to give him credit. I mean, look, I'm the one that on this show 6 months ago, a year ago, said, yo, we ain't calling him Doc Rivers anymore. He's just Glenn because he ain't the doctor of nothing. And Doc Rivers has shown, I've said it before this year, this has been his best year as a Sixers head coach. Maybe one of his best years coaching period since he won the title with Boston in 2008. Do you think that there's a little added motivation to Doc Rivers as a coach, knowing that he's going up against Boston, his team? You know, he didn't have bad seasons coaching in LA, but he never got over the hump in LA. And Boston was kind of like one of those situations where, you know, I think he could have stayed longer, you know, but he was kind of pushed out. Look, Boston, they just turn over great coach after great coach. It's insane. I need to pause and take a sip of coffee here. I'm not even past the quarter mark on my cup of coffee here this morning. We got only 25 minutes to go, and I'm not even halfway done here. It's insane. Yeah, PJ Tucker. You know what? And this, you know, it's funny, Dre. We're complimenting Doc Rivers, and you bring up PJ Tucker. Was it Game 3? Eventually, yeah, it was Game 3, and Doc Rivers, PJ, he pulled PJ. He sat PJ's ass on the bench because PJ was playing. He was so unplayable. He's like, yo, you're sitting. And then he told PJ, unless you start shooting, unless you start doing a little bit more, you can't play. Doc Rivers has literally pulled every right card out there. Let's just hope he's not blowing all his techniques all in this one series. Let's save some for Miami next round. If we get there, I'm not jumping ahead. We still need to win Game 6. We still need to beat Boston. There's no doubt about it. But Doc Rivers has literally pulled the Danuel House card, the PJ Tucker. You're unplayable. You got to get this shit right. Like literally everything he does so far has worked spot on. Doc Rivers is not going to get the credit. Joel Embiid's going to get the credit. James Harden, 240 burgers, is going to get the credit if they win this series. And I'm going to keep using the word if because I am not counting my chickens until the series is over. But man, Doc Rivers deserves a ton of credit for keeping this team in this series. You know, just something as simple as, look, George Niang, we all love bang, bang, George Niang. The fact that we've got him down to 12 minutes a game right now, he's averaging 10, 12, 13 minutes a game. Dude, he was unplayable last night. He did nothing last night. He took one shot. No, he did not take one single three-point shot. He missed a layup. I remember a pump fake to the rim or something like that he missed. And let me just say, when George Niang puts the ball on the floor, I know bad things are going to happen because he should never put the ball on the floor. But you remember there was a point last year where George Niang was playing like 30 minutes a game. And when we got to the playoffs, he was still playing 25, 30 minutes a game, and he was burned out. Doc Rivers figured out what George Niang is. It's if he's got his game, you play him 20 minutes. If he's off, he rides the bench. He's unplayable. If he's not shooting 8 threes and making 4 or 5 of them, he is completely unplayable. He's the type of player you put him in for 3 or 4 minutes. You learn right away what kind of day George Niang's having. And if he's not having his day, he's out. And it's crazy because Doc Rivers didn't see that last year. I mean, the team was different. We didn't have Melton last year. We didn't have James Harden the whole year. James Harden was banged up. It was a different team. Just like this Celtics team is different than last year's Celtics team, this Sixers team is different than last year's Sixers team. Because I just truly believe so many players want, like Tyrese Maxey, we've talked about how great of a game he had last night. And we've talked about comparisons and Max Money and someone earlier saying, would you trade him for Dame Lillard? Like, I wouldn't. If I had to make that decision right now, I wouldn't. But Tyrese Maxey's at the beginning of his career. His arc, his story is at the beginning. It's at the beginning. It hasn't reached its peak. It's not even close to it. But Joel Embiid's 29, going to be 30. You know, his window is very small. His legacy is on the line. James Harden's going to be 34 soon. His legacy is on the line. He's one of the greatest players. James Harden is on the list of one of the greatest players to never win an NBA title. He's probably on the list of one of the greatest athletes to never win a title. Doc Rivers is considered one of the 10 or 15 best coaches of all time. He's got one title. He had a great Celtics team for how long? Never got to the NBA Finals. He's got one title. He's coached over 20 years. One title. Doc Rivers knows it's his last chance. Yeah, I mean, there was a point where I thought last year that Doc Rivers needed to step away, not just because he was not coaching well, because he looked burned out. Like he looked like he just wasn't in it anymore. But, we got breaking Eagles news here. Eagles playing the Giants on Christmas Monday, 4:30. Christmas is on a Monday this year. That's good. I like that. I love Christmas football. I love NBA basketball. Let's just hope that the NBA doesn't schedule the Sixers at 4:30 either on Christmas. Let's have a 4:30 Eagles game, and then let's have the Sixers play the Lakers at like 9:00. And it'll be a late night, but you know what? That would be a beautiful Christmas day. Doc does know it's his last chance. Doc knows that if he does not get back to your comment here, Doc knows. And we'll get to the schedule. There'll be a lot of breaking news and leaks on the schedule today, even though it's not till tomorrow that the schedule's released. It'll break today, a lot of the schedule. And we'll start going into it and diving into those breaks tomorrow. And then we'll fully break down the schedule on Friday. Maxey can only stop himself. Absolutely. But I really want to get into this Doc thing a little bit more because he knows that if they lose this round, he's probably gone. And someone eventually will give Doc a chance. And I firmly believe, like, if they lost this series, if they do lose the series, because there's still a chance, he's done. But if they win the NBA Finals, he might just take a break. He's not going to retire per se, but he might take a break. If you look at Doc Rivers' career, his life, most kids start playing basketball when? Middle school, 8 years old. He literally played high school basketball, probably something before that. College basketball, went right from college right to the pros, literally retired from the pros and got right on the bench. He has not had a year off from basketball since he picked up a basketball for the first time. He looks tired. He looks exhausted. But then all of a sudden, the last couple of months, you start to see another level from Doc Rivers. Like, he's re-energized. He's re-motivated. He thinks there's, he doesn't want to go out on a negative note with the Sixers. He wants to. And it's his legacy. Like, there's a lot of people questioning when it was a year or two ago when they came out with that top 20 coaches of all time. And Doc Rivers, I forget where he was on the list, but he was pretty high on that list as one of the best coaches of all time because he's got so many wins, because he's been coaching so long. Before Boston, he was in Orlando. The guy's been coaching a long time. But, there's still people that question why he's on that list. He goes out and gets a second title this year. Changes everything. Hell, I don't even know how many times did he even play in the coach in the finals. I think he won one with the Celtics. He lost one with the Celtics. The Clippers never got to the NBA Finals. The Sixers haven't, obviously. What do I think about Micah Parsons being at the Sixers game with a Maxey? Dude, give me Micah Parsons in Philly. Get me Micah Parsons. So there's a couple players that, there's one player specifically on the Cowboys. There's certain players that if they're on different teams, I would buy their jersey. And Micah Parsons, if he was on any team but the Cowboys, I would probably have one of his jerseys hanging up back here. Micah Parsons coming out of college, I was willing to trade up to 5th or 6th pick in the draft that year. I know we got Devontae Smith, and I love Devontae Smith. We had a whole show talking about Devontae Smith, being better than A.J. Brown. But Micah Parsons wearing that Sixers jersey and being in Philly, I don't care. I love Micah Parsons. The only time Micah Parsons could do wrong is when he's with the Cowboys. That's it. I'm a huge. Doc does need this, and I say this year has all been about. I coined it before the season started when I did this show on another network. We previewed this season. I'm like, this is the season of legacies. Harden's legacy, Joel Embiid's legacy, and Doc Rivers' legacy. And honestly, at this point, I think Doc needs it more than Joel and James Harden. James Harden's going to play again next year. James Harden's going to James Harden only goes back to Houston if he wins a title here in Philly. But if he doesn't win a title here in Philly and they do a reboot of this team, try to bring in a Dame Lillard or whoever, Bradley Beal, whatever. We're not getting into that right now. But he's going to go to a team that has an NBA title chance, James Harden. Because James Harden, just like Doc Rivers, needs that for his legacy. But his career's it's already peaked and it's coming down, but he's still an effective player. Joel Embiid is going to be in Philly for a few more years, and they're going to continue to win. Doc Rivers, this might be his last year. If Doc Rivers loses here, and loses this Celtics series somehow, and he gets fired, a team on the cusp of an NBA Finals or an NBA championship, like you got Milwaukee. Milwaukee's not bringing Doc Rivers in. Now Toronto might, but they're not on the cusp. They're still building. Maybe a low-level team like I'm not saying Orlando needs a coach, but an Orlando, an Indiana, they don't because they got Rick Carlisle. But a team on like a non-playoff team might bring Doc Rivers in to get them to the playoffs. But they're not. A team like Milwaukee isn't going to bring Doc in. So Doc's not going to have a better chance in this year to win a title. He's just not. This is his best opportunity right now to win a title. And it happens by taking Game 6 as serious as possible. As Eric said earlier in the show, taking Game 6 and playing it with the philosophy that it's a Game 7. It's a must-win. Let me switch off the box score here. Let me pull up the Gamecast. Let me see what the early lines are for Game 6. Right now, this is so disrespectful. We just ran them out of Boston. We just won the last 2 games. Guess what? Early lines. Boston Celtics are a 2-point favorite in Philly in Game 6. Yo, if you disagree, we're at 14 likes. Everybody, we got 18 people watching. Yo, smash that like button, please. Who do I think comes out the West? Well, I picked before the playoffs, before the play-in series started today, I said it was going to be Phoenix or the Lakers. Now, it looks like the Lakers are winning their series. They've got a commanding 3-1 lead there. Denver won last night, so they're up 3-2. I think that's going to go to a 7-game. I think that's going to go 7 games. I do want to see Jokic versus Embiid in the finals. That would be entertaining as hell. That would be great money for the NBA. But I still think it's Lakers, Suns, then Denver in that order. Golden State 4th. But I think the Lakers come out. Somehow, something's going on in LA. I don't know what it is, but there's something. I cannot believe we're dogs at home in a Game 6 with a closed out Game 6 at home, and we're the dogs. Even the money line. Celtics are minus 130. We're plus 110. That's a little closer. But, man, I'm not very good. Thank you very much for your support, man. I am not very good. I'm just trying. This is, you know what? If you're new to this show, the point of this show was I think sports talk radio in Philly is too much of a laugh at. There's too much crap going on in sports talk radio. I remember the 80s and the 90s when you'd call up and have discussions with the hosts and your opinion mattered. When I heard that Angelo was retiring like a year and a half ago, I'm like, I'm going to create a morning show, and I've slowly built this up, and all I care about, this is the show about you, the people that are listening and commenting. I want to give you a platform to have a discussion and feel like your opinion matters, because that's all it does. Like, my opinions don't matter. I give you my opinions based off of what your opinions are, but my opinions don't matter. I want you to have a platform to have a safe place. If your opinion disagrees with others, as long as you're not in a troll, asshole way of saying it, your opinion matters. And I think there's not enough places where that happens. Shows like today, I would do shows 2 hours. I did a 90-minute show yesterday, and it flew by like that. Friday, I plan on doing a 90-minute show because we're going to have schedule talk for the NFL. We'll be recapping Game 6. We'll go 90 minutes. I'll do 2 hours if I have the time to do it, if you guys want. I just need you all to show up every day and keep the comments flowing in. Thank you. I just want everybody. Look, there's too much troll. There's too much argument. You go on social media. You go on Twitter. Like yesterday, I was being called out because I said the Sixers season was over after Game 3. Because people couldn't wait. It was literally 3 seconds after the clock hit 0. It's like the guy had the tweet typed up sharing my thing. Look, there's too much trolling. There's too much hate. There's got to be a safe place. Yo, dude, I'm telling you, Nick Castellanos, I bet $5 on Nick Castellanos 100-1 to win the MVP in baseball this year. He's still got a ways to go. Let me tell you something. 5 home runs, 14 doubles, 20-some RBIs, 317 batting average. Look, I talked about it. I got called out by trolls because I used the phrase positive regression for Nick Castellanos. Let me tell you something. Positive regression, if you want to know what the definition of positive regression is, it's what Nick Castellanos is doing this season. I love it. Thank you. I'm trying to build a community. And honestly, if we could get this community big enough, I'm telling you, this could be a 2-hour show. Hell, we make this community big enough, I'll do 2 shows a day because then I'll be actually, making a little money where I can work a little bit less at my other job, and go from there. Maybe if Liam, over PSN sees the views on this show get big enough, maybe I'd get a little PSN paycheck every so often. And I just don't have to be at the pizza shop. I would do this for 12 hours a day. Honestly, I would. I have so much fun. Literally, I wake up every morning and I can't wait. I don't write the show agenda. I don't write the title of the show until I wake up in the morning. I wake up at 7. I get showered. I make a cup of coffee, which I still have not hit the halfway point of this coffee. My wife is going to be so miserable with me because I'm going to be so grumpy at work today. And if you're ever in the Kennett Square area, come on out to my pizza shop, Fox's Pizza. I love to meet the people. I've met a few people over the years that have been part of my shows, that have commented on my shows. I love to meet you. Come on out. I'm there almost every single day. And make you a pizza. We can talk sports in person. I'd greatly appreciate it. Look, guys, this is all about you, this show. That's what we do here. But I don't want to get away from the point of today's show. And that is simple. Game 6 matters. We've already talked about this one. Who should ring the bell? It's tomorrow, not today. And someone else already brought up Jalen Hurts. I think Jalen Hurts ringing the bell would help the crowd for sure. And I brought it up, Dre. I don't know if anybody else noticed it. It just felt like the crowd was a little soft in Game 4. Like they lost. They were worried. They were down 2-1. They just didn't. They didn't have the same energy you would expect. They got loud at the end and stuff like that. But Jalen Hurts, I want Jalen Hurts to talk to the boys in the locker room. Talk to the boys at practice today. You know, if you want him to ring the bell, that's great. So maybe you have him ring the bell, and before he rings the bell, he talks to the locker room. Yo, this game means not just for you guys, but for the city of Philadelphia. Give them that added little motivation. Yo, this means so much to so many people. Get the job done. I want Jalen Hurts talking to the team because that Mamba man. We always talk about Mamba mentality. Jalen Hurts should absolutely. If it's not Jalen Hurts, I don't know who else can bring. I mean, Jason Kelsey did the other day. The Phillies are playing. Actually, Phillies are off on Thursday, so maybe you can get Bryce Harper. They're home right now. Maybe you get Bryce Harper. I don't know when they're leaving on their next road trip, the Phillies, but maybe you get them. But I want Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts has that Mamba mentality, and I've talked about it. Who are the best people in sports with that Mamba mentality? And that's Jalen Hurts. And he embodies that mentality so much. If we get to Sam Hinkie in the finals, dude, we've talked about it a few times this week in this playoffs. Man, Sam Hinkie's got to be sitting in his office watching this show in the morning and watching the Sixers game at night and being like, damn, my work. Look at what my work's doing. Because it is his work. He is the one that acquired the assets that got us Tobias Harris, Jimmy Butler, then got us James Harden. His work paved the path for what we're talking about maybe making the finals, and it's not over. We are 2-point dogs on Thursday night. That is insane. That is blatant disrespect for what we just witnessed last night. And Sam Hinkie's got to be loving it, man. Sam Hinkie's got to be like, yo, we need this finals. I don't even know if Josh Harris is like, yo, Sam, you want to come back and ring the bell? Would he even do it? Like, he literally got ostracized from the league. He has not worked in the NBA. I think he consulted for like a week around the draft once for one team. He has not had a full-time job in the NBA since he was fired, let go, canceled out by Colangelo, whatever. He has not had a job in this league since. It's insane. He has been ostracized only because he took the trust the process and marketed it. Found a way to put butts in seats when we were winning 10 games a season. That's all. If he does not market trust the process, and if Joel Embiid doesn't come, Joel the process Embiid, we might still have, he might not have ever been fired. It's insane. It's insane to see what happened. But if it's not Jalen Hurts, and if it can't be Bryce Harper, who else could have the same effect? Like Allen Iverson's done it 100 times. You know, Dave Keller has even done it a few times. Like Jalen Hurts is that guy. It's gotta be. Like I don't think there's anybody else on the Eagles that could have the same effect. Dr. J. I mean, he doesn't pump the crowd. Like, he gets a loud standing ovation, but does he pump the crowd up? I don't know. I don't think there's got to be a choice other than Jalen Hurts on Thursday night. But I still want. I don't think a team at this point should need someone to come in and speak in a locker room. If you can't get fired up for a game 6 closeout game at home, like you're in the wrong business. I'm fired up. I'm ready to run through a wall right now. Sam Hinkie is the Howie Roseman of the NBA if given a chance. Very possible. That's a fantastic statement there, Eric. A fantastic statement right there. Maybe Howie Roseman should ring the bell. Maybe Nick Sirianni. Maybe those guys. Maybe they would get the crowd fired up. But Jalen Hurts, like if you need somebody to come in and speak in your locker room, like you're in the wrong business if you can't get fired up for a game 6 closeout game at home. But it can't hurt to give that little extra motivational speech at 5 o'clock after shoot around or 6 o'clock after shoot around. It can't hurt. And if you have him give the speech, Jalen Hurts, and then you got him in the building, you might as well just run him out there to ring the bell as well. That gives the crowd a little bit. Howie Roseman would be a great bell ringer, I think. Remember him like walking the sideline after that game? Oh, wait, motherfucker! He was just all fired up, shouting at the fans. Like Howie Roseman, he was a questionable figure in Philly sports, but man, he proved everybody wrong, including me. It's just like I said, fire Doc Rivers. I said fire Howie Roseman. Proved us all wrong, and now the fans are embracing him, and he is one of the most popular people and sports figures in Philadelphia for sure. Nick Sirianni could do it. Nick Sirianni could probably give one of his flower speeches. He's got creative ways to motivate people. Dude, I forget what it is, but their record since he gave the flower speech to the Eagles, it's insanely great. But Jalen Hurts, in my opinion, has to be the guy. Yeah, Howie Roseman's redemption arc is something I love to see it. I mean, it's amazing. Literally, he got sent to be the equipment manager in the back room so Chip Kelly could ruin this franchise. And he came back and not only led the team to a Super Bowl, but led them to 2 Super Bowls and a victory with 2 different coaches, with 2 different quarterbacks. I mean, the Howie Roseman redemption story. And honestly, it's not over. Like, it's still at the peak. Like, there's a chance. Like, I firmly believe, and this is getting off subject to the Sixers, to the Eagles, that this Eagles team should appear in at least 2 more Super Bowls in the next 3 or 4 years. They should win a Super Bowl in the next 2 or 3 years. A team with no Super Bowls, now from 2017 to 2027, we'll say in a 10-year span, are going to have multiple Super Bowl trophies in there. It's insane. And to think that Howie Roseman was on the cusp of leaving Philadelphia, probably on his way out of this city, but that connection him and Howie Roseman have. Howie Roseman wouldn't let him go. Let me just test this one thing out. And if it works out, we'll let you go wherever. His redemption arc, it's insane. There's going to be a Hallmark movie on Howie Roseman. Who would play Howie Roseman in that? Yeah, he was in the boiler. We got our second reference. Not a. We're having a boiler room Mankind comment. I remember the boiler room matches. Him and Kane, him and the Undertaker. Man, we've got Mojo Rawley and boiler room with Mankind comments on this show. This show don't get any better than that, you know. Nick Sirianni in an Iverson jersey with Nick Foles is a free agent right now. When Nick Foles actually could be a bell ringer. Ooh, Nick Sirianni was great. Nick Sirianni in a Nick Foles jersey? Oh, man. Have Nick Foles and Jalen Hurts come out together to ring the bell. Matt Damon would play Howie Roseman. I love it. Oh, man, you guys are making me laugh today with all the comments today, man. There's some quality comments in the second half of this show. Oh, man, Mojo Rawley, Matt Damon playing Howie Roseman, Boiler Room Mankind. Man, it doesn't get any better than this. I think in my order, now that we've gone through a bunch of options, my order of choice for bell ringer, Jalen Hurts 1, Nick Foles 2, Howie Roseman 3, Nick Sirianni 4. Sam Hinkie 5, but that'll never happen. Matt Damon 6 on the bell ringing thing. That's for sure, right there. That's who I'd want. That would be insane. Yeah, epic. Everything we're talking about here is epic, guys. Epic. Come on, 19 people on YouTube, 17 likes. Make sure you like this video. Make sure you tune in every day, 8:30 a.m., sometimes 8 a.m. If you're following me on Twitter, @BeardedKnowledge, you always know. If I'm going early live, I put it on Twitter. We need you guys. This has been another one of those fantastic shows, guys. But I got a catering order at my pizza shop, so I've got to wrap it up here at the full hour mark here. 9:30 here. This is Trending in the AM on Philadelphia Sports Network. For them, I am Phil Stiefel, Dougie P. Would that be a clash there, Jacksonville coach? Maybe, yeah. Be good. I don't know if it would have the same as Nick Sirianni. Right now, Nick Sirianni's higher than Doug Peterson, just in the current mindset. But for everybody, we'll be back tomorrow. 8:30. We can pick up this conversation. We'll talk Eagles tomorrow. We'll talk Phillies tomorrow. We'll preview tomorrow night's game. Maybe I'll go live at 8:15. If y'all show up, we'll go live at 8:15 so we get an extra 15 minutes of talking time here and today. But I got to wrap this up today. I got to get to work. You all have a great day. For Philadelphia Sports Network, I'm Phil Stiefel. We'll see you tomorrow morning, and ring that damn bell.